John. You were the one.
So I really wonder what Delta ended up finding there at the end of the episode. Also, I love how Delta has gotten closer to Sid, or at least Sid has decided because of her mental capacity to use her more for his silly outgoings and stuff. Also, the fact that Sid was there just digging away at the snow, thinking that the other beast dude gave him the insight that he had kind of put the gold beneath the snow, and he was making the beast dude was making a big reference at 𝐜𝐴𝐚𝐽, but Sid took that as, oh no, he meant my gold. And really, it was just that Alpha and the gang retrieved all the gold because he told them exactly where it's at. So, regardless, here's what I'll say. Last week and the week before, I've said, hey, I'm not a big fan of the John Smith arc so far. And even seeing on how it ended, which I think was a appropriate and pretty good ending to the arc, I still really feel like it's not my favorite arc. And it's if we put all the different arcs, which I think there's been 1, 2, 3, 3 arcs now, I guess, because you got the beginning, Mundane Man, and then you got John Smith. Maybe you put a 4th one if you put like some random, outgoings there when he first ran into the first cult of Diablos and started school. Maybe, I don't really know. Depends how you want to look at it, but I would say there's probably been, 3 significant arcs so far. And the John Smith one was definitely my least favorite one. And I did come on, and I've said it the past few weeks, I love everything that went on around the John Smith stuff. Like, I loved diving deeper into Shadow Garden, seeing their outgoings, seeing the brand that they created, Mitsugoshi, seeing the bank and the trade system, like all the in-depth contextual stuff around the John Smith at the core, I absolutely loved. And I loved, looking deeper at Alpha, looking deeper at Delta, looking deeper at all these different characters. I like that this episode we finally got to see Princess Iris come back into the mix. That she looks like she's wrecked. But we finally saw her come back into the mix and take down the company that the Beast Dude was running alongside the sweaty guy. And I definitely like everything that's been going on around John Smith. But the John Smith as a character, last week really solidified it for me that he continues to use. Sid continues to use everything like it's a joke and like the world is his Chinibyo scene to reality kind of thing. And last week, I just did not like the hurt that he gave to Alpha, and in this week, in extension, the rest of his group. Ultimately, he brought it back with his little letter and stuff that he had them decipher that said, hey, here's what I'm doing. And he kind of laid down the law of like what was going on. But the reasoning behind it was simply to line his pockets, which I don't really have a problem with. My problem with the whole entire arc where it falls apart is if he communicated to his, tons of Shadow Garden members, any of them would be able to kind of give him some insights onto what they're doing. But he simply doesn't ask the right questions or any questions at all. But he's completely okay when they put him on a throne and they kiss his feet and they serve him like hand and foot. It's like, I think we give him a lot of benefit of the doubt of, oh, well, he's so smart, but he's really stupid. And, that's an out when you have, it's like, well, I get he's really stupid, but at the same time, he's really, really intelligent. So it's like, well, if he just asked a couple of questions, the whole entire scheme falls apart, right? But he doesn't ask the questions, so that's why it keeps together. But that's why I really didn't like the arc too much. It's like, I just feel like, one little tap and the dominoes all fall. And that's not what I'm a big fan of here. What I did really like about this episode, and how I said earlier how, like, I feel like this was a pretty good ending to the arc, and I feel like they did kind of bring it together. is the thing that I really did like about it at the end was the 𝐜𝐴 stuff. And I really liked seeing kind of her part of the story kind of have finality, and her start part of the story with her former fiance and not completely killing him, reenacting the stuff that occurred before. And then I like how they brought in the paper bag bandit that Sid was originally when he was a kid. And we found out that not only did he attack the village and was the one that took both of Bro's eyes away, the big beast dude, not only did he take both of his eyes away, so Sid did that, and he's held animosity towards him ever since, which is why he didn't have power and stuff like that. But then on top of it, he was the one that had healed 𝐜𝐴 originally with his powers, which is so cool, because later on in the episode when they, when he kills the other dude and everything else, he grabs 𝐜𝐴, she falls on him, and he heals her once again, and she feels the same sensation and power as before. And she kind of breaks down of like, what a compassionate man, and she's like, oh, he was the paper bag dude. So I loved how that got all brought back together. That I honestly did really, really, really love about this episode. And I was like, oh shit, like look at that. It all came back together. Like that's sick. That's dope. So I absolutely loved that. I thought that was a incredible way to kind of bring everything together, and was really unexpected that to find out not only did he have hands in that battle and taking this dude's vision away and stuff, and beating his ass, but then he had a hand in healing 𝐜𝐴 and basically got her, in a sense, undying love and admiration going forward, so much so that she immediately agreed to work with Alpha and Shadow Garden, as she'll be the underbelly is there the front. Basically she'll do all the criminality kind of things on the bottom end, and Mitsugoshi and Alpha's group will be kind of the top front end. So I like how he, even though he didn't gain anything himself this episode by all the riches, he gained something even more important from the stuff that he can't see, unless he tries to destroy it once again to build them back up again. Unless he tries to destroy it, he gains something even more precious that eventually, when it all comes to fruition, it'll all pay off. The last thing I'll say is the end of the episode. I talked about it as soon as the video started. It's like, well, what did Delta dig up at the end of the episode? It looked like uranium, something nuclear, maybe. Like what did she dig up? And I think that's gonna have some significance going forward. It looks like plutonium, uranium. Looks like something kind of crazy. It could also just be money. Who knows? But it looks like something crazy there. And then what is she going to ask of Sid? I assume it's like, get me, impregnate me with 9 babies or something crazy. But it could be really anything. She also did hint that she wants him to go destroy her dad and take over the beast folk. So maybe his what do they call it when his thing where he goes away, his thing where he goes away for a while and comes back after the winter, maybe it's going to go and take over the beast folk, because that's what Delta wants him to do. And I think that would be really cool if we end up going to the beast village and all that stuff. I think that would be awesome. So I'm crossing fingers that happens, but I think that whatever Delta dug up probably will have some significance of what happens next. But overall, awesome episode. Just the John Smith arc itself, I didn't really like that much, but this episode, awesome. The battling, awesome. The way that Sid came in and just 1-2 punched this dude, and like in the fight scene, the Sakuga, top notch. But anyways, I'll leave you guys some those thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode down in the comments below. I know a lot of you guys really love the John Smith stuff, so let me have it in the comments. But regardless, let me know what you guys think about this episode in the comments down below, and let me know what you think is coming next. Unless you know for sure, then obviously don't spoil, but anybody who doesn't know, put your guesses in the comments. All right, my friends, I'm going to see you guys next week. Merry Christmas. All right, see you guys next week.